I've never told anyone this because it sounds impossible, but something sat behind me on that roller coaster, and there was no seat there. It happened 3 summers ago at a small amusement park just outside the city. Nothing huge, nothing famous, the kind of place that closes early on weekdays and smells like popcorn and machine grease. I went with 2 friends. We decided to ride the oldest roller coaster in the park right before sunset. It wasn't the biggest ride there, just tall enough to give you that stomach drop feeling. We boarded near closing time. The attendant checked our restraints twice because the ride had stalled earlier in the day. That detail matters. I was seated in the second to last row. The row behind me was empty. Completely empty. I remember joking about it, saying at least no one would kick my seat. The climb up the first hill felt normal. Loud chain pulling us upward, wind against my face, people below shrinking smaller. Then right at the very top, the ride stopped. Not unusual, it happens sometimes. People started laughing nervously. Someone in front of me said, "Here we go." But the chain stopped moving. The wind stopped too. And that's when I felt it. The back of my seat shifted. Not the car, not the track, my seat. It pressed forward slightly, like someone behind me leaned into it. I assumed it was mechanical tension releasing. That made sense. Until it happened again. Slower, deliberate, like weight adjusting. My restraint tightened, not snapping, just pulling down gradually, firm, controlled. I tried to look over my shoulder, but the headrest blocked most of my view. All I could see was a sliver of the empty seat behind me. Then I heard breathing. Close, slow, steady. Not the kind you hear from people screaming or laughing. This was calm, controlled, almost patient. No one else reacted. The people in front of me were still joking about the delay. I froze. The breathing felt so close to my ear that I could almost feel warmth against my neck, but there was no wind. The park below looked frozen too. Lights on, people walking, but everything felt distant, muted. Then, without warning, the ride jolted back to life. The pressure on my back disappeared instantly. The restraint loosened just slightly. The car dropped into the first descent, and everyone screamed like nothing had happened. I didn't. When we got off, I walked straight to the photo display screen. Every ride has one. The camera captures you right at the drop. My face looked pale. My hands were gripping the restraint hard enough to show my knuckles. The seat behind me looked empty, but there was a shadow, not cast from the side, not from above, a shape leaning forward over my shoulder. There was no one in that row. I asked the attendant if anyone had switched seats before the ride. He said no. He also mentioned something strange. The weight sensor for the last 2 rows showed a brief spike while the ride was stalled at the top, but when the ride started again, it returned to normal. I never told my friends what I felt or heard. I just said the stall freaked me out. I haven't been back to that park since, and I don't sit near empty rows anymore, because sometimes empty doesn't mean unoccupied.